England were rubbish.
Yeah.
They really were. Absolutely got out of jail. But look, hopefully it'll be the springboard for something better, because we know we've got the players, but do we have the coach that can open his eyes and open up this team? And I just don't think we do. I said at the start of this tournament, when England were favourites or second favourites to France, I said, if England were managed by, I don't know, half of the other coaches in this tournament, I'd put a bet on England to win it. But because we're managed by Southgate, I don't think it's possible.
Well, with William Hill this afternoon, you can get epic value all season with William Hill. 18 plus, begamblerware.org. I'm Sam Ellard. Adrian Clarke, the man you heard there, with you until 5 o'clock. Let's now hear then, shall we, from the main man, the match winner, or the guy that saved England, Jude Bellingham, that amazing bicycle kick. What a moment that was. And after the game, speaking in his press conference, Bellingham, he had this to say.
It's a combination of a lot of things, you know. You're playing for England is an enjoyable feeling, but it's also a lot of pressure. You hear people talk a lot of rubbish, and you know, it's nice that when you deliver, you can give them a little bit back. You know, it's very difficult in press conferences and interviews and things like that to talk as openly as footballers want to, because they're always judged. And for me, football and being on the pitch, scoring goals, celebrating is my release. And you know, it's maybe a message to a few people, but very happy moment and full of adrenaline.
Look, he's a passionate man. He's a young man. We know he wears his heart on his sleeve. And when I heard him give that interview after the game yesterday, I was sort of thinking, what are you talking about? Because let's be honest, for 4 games, England have been rubbish. Let's be honest, England are very, very lucky to be in the quarterfinals. So when you're playing for your country and you're pretty rubbish, you're going to take criticism. And he comes out about, wanting to shut a few people up. I'd love to know who he's talking about, because...
Well, that's you, Sam. Maybe me.
I'm not being funny. No, but let's be honest. It's all of us, really, isn't it? Because I haven't really read an article or listened to an opinion of someone going, goodness me, England going on nicely here.
Well, you couldn't, could
rubbish,
you?
It
would have been impossible to find anything positive to talk about with England, I think, across the first 4 games.
They sound a bit rattled, like they are listening to outside noise.
They shouldn't be listening. They shouldn't be listening to outside noise. They're better than that, aren't they? They need to keep things in-house. Of course, they're going to be on their phones. They're going to see the reaction. But what do they expect? If they were to watch the game back, which I'm assuming they do.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do. They can't be too proud of what they've produced. So how would they expect those on the outside, i.e. us in the media, to see anything different? It's our job to call it as it is, to explain to people maybe why England have been so disappointing. And if they don't like that, tough is my message to Jude Bellingham and the rest of the players. I'm glad that you produced that moment. It was sensational, and we're gonna praise Jude for that, because it is a brilliant piece of individual skill. He's an outrageously good young player, but this whole business where the England squad are feeling resentment towards anybody that dares to criticise them, I don't get.
No.
Use it as fuel, guys. Use it to get better. That is what I've been brought up on. If you've been disappointing, someone's going to tell you about it, and you've got to react to it. That's what professional sport is about.
Jude Bellingham, by the way, he faces, just some news coming into us now this afternoon, talkSPORT, so he faces a disciplinary investigation over a potential breach of the basic rules of decent conduct during that game. It's understood related to him, grabbing his below region after scoring that equaliser in added time. So hopefully nothing too serious will come of that. Maybe you shouldn't have done it, but I think it's one of those where in the heat of the moment, you always give him a slap on the wrist and say, behave yourself, and we don't need any fines or bans here, do we? Really?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it's worthy of further punishment myself. No, hopefully that's a storm in a teacup. I did think with his celebration, I thought...
What about who else?
I thought that was arrogant. I thought that was a little bit big-headed. I've got to be honest. Because, look... Yeah, it's just a really cocky thing to say, isn't it, in terms of who else?
Especially when you've been rubbish all tournament as well. Like, if he was amazing and everybody else was rubbish, I kind of get it. But let's be honest, we love him, and he could very well win us this tournament in 2 weeks' time, but he's been useless.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
They all have, but he's been one of them, Clarke.
Yeah, but I think that Gareth Southgate's approach and the tactics have really not suited Jude Bellingham. We've not been able to play quickly enough to get him in the game.
Well, I want to then come back to what we were talking about before the break. So I asked you about this England team and why tactically Southgate isn't setting them up right. You spoke about maybe Trent playing instead of Walker.
Yeah,
You spoke about the balance down the left-hand side.
Yes.
How no left-footed left back and a left winger who wants to play centrally isn't working. Let's now talk about the midfield, because I've been saying all tournament that I wanted Jude Bellingham to maybe play a little bit deeper alongside Declan Rice, because that would then allow Phil Foden to come in from the left and sort of play as a 10. Saka on the right, Gordon on the left, two pacey wingers who want to run in behind, and then we know Harry Kane's really good at coming deep and can feed them with those passes. Tactically, what do you make of that approach? Is it too risky having just Rice sitting? Do you need a Mainu or a Wharton or a Gallagher alongside him?
I think, Sam, that you should be employed as the next England manager. That's what I think, based on your
we've
your
got that on camera
there.
as well. There we go. Southgate, you're the one, but Sam's the new one. I like that from you.
Super Sammy.
Do you want to quote me in your latest piece for the Premier League official website, which has millions of followers?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, sorry.
I've been preaching the same starting 11. So I think that Jude Bellingham, we're having a problem getting him into the game because we're coming up against minnow sides that are kind of going to squeeze the space between the lines, and to get players like him in those pockets, you've got to move the ball fluently and quickly. England have been the opposite of that. So what you do, if it's not happening for you in that regard, you bring him back. He can play as an orthodox central midfielder anyway. Get him on the ball. Get him on. He loves to spray the passes around. He can pick a forward pass better than Kobbie Mainoo, let's be honest. Kobbie Mainoo's a good young player, don't get me wrong. He's been the best of the bunch used alongside Rice, but for me, Bellingham is clearly a better player. I'd put him there. I'd move Foden into a roaming role. Okay, will it be the same issue in terms of him not getting much of the ball? Maybe, but maybe with Bellingham behind him, he might have a little bit more joy, because he's a superb progressive passer. And absolutely on the wings, Saka, I think he's played well in the tournament, not brilliantly. I think he deserves his place. Gordon is a baffling one. Why have we not seen Gordon? Because we've got no Luke Shaw, we know that. Unless you put Saka left back, you have no balance. A left footer that's quick on that side is the guy to provide that balance that you need, and it has to be Anthony Gordon. As you rightly said, Kane is a brilliant link player. He fizzes balls out to either flank. He looks left at the moment, and there's no one to ping it out to. So, and if you're an opponent of England, you know that. So what do? You sort of almost tag team on Bukayo Saka on the other side and just shut off that passing lane. So, yeah, there's a lot of work for Southgate to do. His team selections till this point do not indicate that he is willing to rip it up and start again. What I will say is that at least he did try the two up front. Eventually, but we saw it work. I don't want to see two up front from the start of games, because I think
it's a good option off the bench.
I think it's an obvious option if you're training against the Swiss, or you're in search of a goal, it's level and you're desperately searching for a goal. It's got to be an option to play two up top, but I wouldn't want to see us start with that.
Mark Gahey, who I wasn't sure, because Maguire and Stones have been so good for England for a long time, but Gahey, obviously, no Maguire injured. I've been really pleasantly impressed with Mark Gahey, how well he's done. He's going to miss the next game through suspension. How should Southgate replace him?
It's a good question. It makes you wonder if he wants to go to a back three, because that's how he finished that game. I don't think he will. I would have thought it would be Lewis Dunk, I think, because he's a good passer. He's used him quite a lot in the build-up games. You could go with Gomez, who I think he's a really good footballer, but hasn't probably played enough games at centre-half in the last season or so.
He's played a lot of games at left-back.
Yeah, I personally... Where
England needed left-back as well, right?
I personally would have had Gomez ahead of Trippier, because Trippier I don't think has had a good tournament either. It feels to me like Trippier's been in the team for set pieces. And I think that's absolute nonsense. When you've
I'd rather play Trent at right back then and put Walker at left back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wouldn't. I just think Kyle Walker is... I do think at his age, he's approaching his mid-30s, I think he's hit a little bit of a brick wall. I know he's just won the title with City, but a lot of City fans tell me that he wasn't very good last season. And, the bits I saw, I wasn't massively impressed. So I think this could be the end of Kyle Walker's international career, and we probably need to move on from him. So let's see. But I would.
You going Lewis Dunk?
I would go Lewis Dunk,
Okay.
but it's the obvious weak spot for England. We are not blessed with many top class centre backs. Mark Gahey, as well as he's done, is he going to ever develop into a world class central defender? I don't think so personally. I think he's a very good Premier League player, but I think there are limitations with Gahey. We saw that for the Slovakia goal that they scored.
Yeah.
There's a mix-up between Stones and Gahey, and he couldn't recover in time. So, I think Dunk will get the nod.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.